It's called Supernote. A Supernote is a kind of paper tablet designed to merge the organization power of a computer with the freedom and the lack of distraction of paper. If, for those of you that handwrite, you'll know exactly what I mean. Over time, this has become my go-to tool for planning every season, every month, every week, and indeed every day. And in this video, I want to show you how I use it to do so. Bienvenidos de nuevo, mis estudiantes. My name is Mr. Crofts. I am a former school teacher, a self-taught bilingual, a rental property investor, and now a part-time YouTuber. I make videos about high-level planning and organization so that you may more effectively self-educate and accomplish your goals. So here's the tablet itself. You can see it's similar in size to an iPad. I have a little folio case here. The pen comes with it. The folio has a little pocket for it so that I can keep it with the tablet at all times. I open it up. You see it's an electronic tablet that has the ability to hold multiple journal series. So whereas on paper I'd be restricted to one journal, or if I wanted to keep multiple journals, I'd have the burden of carrying all of those around and I'd have to try to organize them, and of course you only have a certain amount of space within a single journal. With this, there's no limit to the amount of pages you keep in each of your journals, and so I keep multiple series, 5 of which are going to be the focus of this video. So let's hop over to the computer and we can look at some of these pages in detail. All right, sweet. So I figured out how to screen record the mirror of my tablet so that I can work on the tablet, but you guys see everything that's going on. So check this out. When I first open up the tablet, the Supernote, I'm in my daily plan right now, but we're going to take a look at the sidebar to look at all of the pages we're going to overview today. There's 7 listed in my quick access toolbar, but 5 are my main ones that I want to focus on today. Bird's eye, seasonally, monthly, weekly, and daily. That's where all the bulk of my planning happens. Let's begin with daily, which is where we're in right now. So coming back over here to the page that I opened up to, today is Thursday, June 5th, as I record this, and you can see I have a list of items on my to-do list. Some of them are crossed off. Right now it's about 10 in the morning, and I'm in the process of completing this task right here, beginning video 46. I have my day broken down into blocks, and we'll talk about that, Lord willing, in other videos. It's an extremely powerful idea. I use the structure every day. I've gotten my open block done for the day. I'm now in my prime time block. We have lunch later, afternoon, and then evening and close. And all of that's it's worth diving into, but just outside of the context of this video. If I scroll to the left, I have my day's plan from yesterday. I'm in the same journal series, the same daily note. The note, I call it a journal series because it's like a notebook, but it's an endless notebook. I can have as many pages as I want. Yesterday's plan is just one to the left of the page I was on before. And then, of course, the opposite is the case. I can scroll to the right, and now I can see my daily plan for tomorrow as well. I also have some other navigation tools that if I wanted to, I could take an overview. If I come up here to the settings and go to pages, I can see an overview of all of the pages of this journal. Right now I'm on page 161, and that continues to grow. Every time I get to Sunday is the plan right now. Every Sunday I add another 7 days to plan out my week on the daily level, if that makes sense. So again, we'll go into that in more detail, Lord willing, in other videos. But for now, let's move on to the next journal series. Instead of going to weekly, I'm actually going to skip all the way back up to bird's eye because I feel like it makes more sense to start high. This is bird's eye. A bird's eye, as it sounds, is like a bird's eye overview of your entire year. I do it 3 months at a time. This particular layout, I got this idea from Ali Abdal, so shout out to him. I have every month is a column, and there's 3 months that you can fit into a single page. so that I can see, for example, here in this case, the entire summer, which I'm very much looking forward to. We just had our last day of school yesterday. And you can see it's pretty simple. I don't have very much information packed in here. I don't have things like I've thought about, for example, keeping dentist appointments, and I have an appointment for getting an estimate for installing an air conditioner in my home. But all of that is, the last thing I want is to clutter it up. I want to be able to see only the stuff that really matters from a bird's eye perspective. And so far, what I'm using it for, I have birthdays of the people that I care to remember the birthdays of, which sounds a little weird, but it's the case. We gotta choose, right? And then we have holidays. I have the 4th of July, I got Father's Day, and then maybe some key events like people leaving or coming back that affects me somehow. But most importantly, and again, we can maybe go into this more in detail in later videos, but the most important part of, I think, this piece of my planning layout is, and I'll go one page back to show you. Okay, so this is spring of 2025. All of these days, as you can see, are already crossed out, so we're not there anymore. But what I was doing was, because I work for a school and the school has a block schedule, every day we would have A, B, or C day. And that would tell you, okay, these are the classes that you are going to have. These are the students you're going to have. This is the content that you're responsible for. And it's just a nice way to organize your calendar and on a sort of macro scale, so that you could plan ahead and better organize your focus and where it goes. So the same kind of thinking I'm planning to apply over the summer. Right now, again, it's June 5th as I record this. I've got June 9th is the only day that I've planned so far. I'm calling it a B day, and I've got definitions for what those mean in a different journal series that we're not discussing in this video in quick reference, but we'll save that for later. The bottom line, though, is it's a way to organize my calendar from a macro perspective so that I know what to focus on what days. What kind of day is it? First of all, is it a work day or is it a personal day? And if it's a work day, what kind of work day? What should I be focusing on? And of course, as you answer that question, what should I be focusing on? You're also answering what you should not be focusing on. Okay, moving on now to seasonally. Seasonally is the first goal setting page that I have. Seasonally, monthly, weekly, and even daily really are now all just goals. They're goals, and they're not the only place that I set goals. We'll talk about other areas that I do this as well, but these are the goals that I want just right in front of me. They're the short-term things that I'm doing day to day to help me stay grounded in the things that most matter to me. I've got summer. I have my 3 focuses for the year listed at the top of each goal section, so I know kind of what I'm supposed to be focusing on. And then goals that I have for each of those sections I have listed underneath. And I don't think it requires much explanation, right? I just have a list of goals for each section, and the idea is those are the things I come back to, and I want those in front of me. I want them in front of me so that I remember, okay, yes, this is what I'm focusing on. This is what I'm focusing on. I don't get distracted by the day-to-day of life. And then other. Other is exactly what it sounds like. I have other things that I kind of sort of would like to get to if I have the time. They're kind of important to me, but they're not urgent. They're not really moving me closer to my long-term goals. And so what I do is I put this little symbol. This symbol is a long-standing symbol in my journal notation. It essentially tells me it's optional. It's a bonus. You don't have to do it, but it would be nice. Here's monthly. It's very similar to seasonally. I have my goals broken down into several sections just to keep things nice and organized. We've got the same 3 focuses for the year listed at the top of the first 3 sections, so that I know under each of those sections I should have at least a handful of goals, and they'll continue to change, and I'll work through them as I go through the season and through the month. And then I have other goals as well that I'm interested in maybe possibly getting to, but again, they're not as important. They're sort of back burner, but as I can, I like to challenge myself with more, just as long as I have the sort of the foundations taken care of, right? Okay, and then finally we have weekly, and this is again exactly like it sounds, although the template that I have is a little different. Instead of categorizing it, I find on that level, the shorter term level, it's not as necessary. It doesn't really help me as much. And so instead I just have a simple checklist. I have it, oh, and I can actually cross this one off. I have the checklist just as a checklist. I don't need any sort of categorization. And I have my going to-dos, short of dropping dead. And then I have my optional to-dos down in the bottom. And then what I find, this is something that I might share in more detail in a later video, but I love the way that I'm able to index these pages, because I can see sort of visually, as if it were a calendar, the week period that I'm in right now is 6/2 to 6/6, because I'm recording this on June 5th. And then the next page in this series is not the next week per se, but the next handful of days that I can kind of break down into a more or less weekly level, if that makes sense. Okay, so for example, if I'm working during the school year, like right now, what you're looking at is just a basic, like the 5 days of the work week, and then the weekend, which I include Friday in there because it's like the transition day. So I might as well just transition on Friday and I'll move on to the next page at that point. But on the week, during the school year, you might have something where none of them are listed right now. But during the school year, I could come over to Bird's Eye to show you. During the school year, if I have something like spring break, which we had right here in the last day of March and the beginning of April, that showed up as an entire, like, what is that, like 9 days or something, where I was able to, I broke the calendar up into that whole 9-day period where I set up a list of goals for myself in weekly, and all of those were listed here, so that I know, like, over spring break, these are my goals. Hey, thanks for watching. If you stuck around to the end of the video, I invite you to subscribe if you haven't done so already, so that I stay on your radar. And then if you're interested in this paper style kind of planning, you can check out this last video I made, which is about my most critical organization habit ever, journaling. Otherwise, nos vemos.